piece just a little bit at a time. I think we've understood the message to the churches, and of course Revelation chapter 4 verse 1 starts the rapture of the church. All the saved are taken up and the lost are left here for 7 years of tribulation, and we get into the seal judgments. So the seal judgments are when God simply allows man to have his way. He takes his restrictive hand off and lets man destroy himself with his own devices. And of course, that's when the Antichrist comes to power. He'll come in peace, and he'll bring peace for the first 3.5 years, but he's possessed by Satan himself, and he's a liar and a deceiver, and he'll break peace. And of course, we get into the trumpet judgments. That's what we did last, or 2 weeks ago. We had Lord's Supper last week, but we did the 4 trumpet judgments. That's where the 4th week got. And of course, we've seen fire mingled with hail falling from the sky. We've seen great earthquakes. We've seen the oceans and the rivers turn to blood. I mean, can you imagine that? We've seen war like it's never been seen before. We've seen disease the likes that's never been seen before. At this time, beginning in chapter 9, there's already a third of the entire world population that's been killed in just a few years' time. And as we're going to see in chapter 9, there's going to be another third killed here. And it's just going to be a horrible time. And I'm glad that I don't have to be there. And I know as we go through this, we're waiting for the deepest parts of Revelation right now. The reason I say that is because we're listening to all this horrible graphic judgment on top of judgment on top of judgment. And it's really not even going to affect us, except in the sense of knowing what's coming. We need to be more diligent to tell others about Jesus. And it may seem like an awful lot, and it is. I mean, this is the unbridled wrath of God that's been held back for all these years, giving us time to repent and get right. And now the dam is broken. It's just absolutely being let loose. And chapter 9 is one of the biggest reasons why people have trouble just simply believing what this book says. Is because it's simply worse than the human mind can even comprehend. And what I'm preaching on tonight, it sounds like it came straight out of the script of a horror movie, but it is absolutely true. And we just need to keep it that way because, look, it's true from Genesis 1:1 to the last verse in Revelation chapter 22. We just got to take it as it comes. And I find it amazing. You know, I really don't believe, and me and Brother Ken were talking about this today. You know, I believe that all wisdom, you know, when somebody seems to be smart, we say, well, they're just smart. They're just intelligent people. But I really believe that wisdom is given. I believe wisdom is given either by God or by Satan because, I mean, you know, Satan is wise. He's the wisest of all of God's creation. And, of course, God, of course, is the author of wisdom. And, you know, I just don't believe we just grab that out of the sky. I believe it's given. And it's amazing to me how, I mean, really, this is like the script of a horror movie. And it's so close that, you know, sometimes I wonder how they come up with those ideas. Was it not perhaps demonic wisdom that knows that this day is coming? Pretty interesting stuff when you get into it. But tonight we're going to just study the 5th trumpet, also known as the first woe. If you're willing and able to stand, I'll actually begin reading in chapter 8, verse 13, and it'll lead us into chapter 9. I'll read the first 12 verses there. But 8 verse 13 says, I beheld and heard an angel flying through the midst of heaven, saying with a loud voice, Woe, woe, woe to the inhabitants of the earth by reason of the other voice of the trumpet of the 3 angels which are yet to sound. Now those woes are actually judgments. And this is the 5th trumpet, but it's the first woe. This verses 1 through 12 of chapter 9, it says, And the 5th angel sounded, and I saw a star fall from heaven unto the earth, and to him was given the key of the bottomless pit. And he opened the bottomless pit, and there arose a smoke out of the pit, as the smoke of a great furnace. And the sun and the air were darkened by reason of the smoke of the pit. And there came out of the smoke locusts upon the earth, and unto them was given power, as the scorpions of the earth have power. And it was commanded them that they should not hurt the grass of the earth, neither any green thing, neither any shall desire to die, and death shall flee from them. And the shapes of the locusts were like unto the horses prepared unto battle. And on their heads was it were crowns like gold, and their faces were as the faces of men. And they had hair as the hair of women, and their teeth were as the teeth of lions. And they had breastplates as it were breastplates of iron. And the sound of their wings was as the sound of chariots of many horses running to battle. And they had tails like unto scorpions, and there were strings in their tails. And their power was to hurt men 5 months. And they had a king over them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in Hebrew, the Hebrew tongue, is Abaddon, but in the Greek tongue, his name is Apollyon, that means destroyer. One woe is past, and behold, there come 2 woes more hereafter. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, God, I pray that as we read your word tonight, God, you reveal yourself to us. God, you would reveal your word in truth and in power and in spirit, Lord God. God, I pray that we would just, God, speak where you speak and be silent where you're silent, Lord God. And I pray that, dear Lord, that you convict us, God, just how real your judgment is to come, God. Lord, would you save our lost loved ones, God, for those co-workers, God, for those friends that are going to die and go to hell without Jesus Christ. Would you speak to their heart, God, and God, send us to those people, make us sensitive to your Holy Spirit, God, that we need to witness to somebody, Lord. God, I pray that you be real tonight. We'll thank you and praise you for it, God. Christ, and praise you. I'm going to preach for a little while on the subject of a nightmare come true. A nightmare come true. Now, we read about the bottomless pit being opened, and we read about these locusts coming out by the millions. But I want you to know these are not locusts. This is symbolic. You know, there's some things in Revelation that it's literal, and then some things are symbolic. But even the symbols are explained. He doesn't just leave us out there at Neverland and just make up a bunch of stuff. I've read some commentaries like that, and I just threw them away. They're not worth anything. He doesn't leave us to guess a whole lot. But these locusts, this is an army of demon forces. I don't know of any locusts that have teeth like lion and hair like a woman and face like... I mean, do you? I haven't read anything. I ain't seen anything like that. Not around here anyway. But we know these demonic forces. I'm going to show you why. Now, they came from the bottomless pit. And let me say this, just to give you an idea what this is. I wish I had a board to draw this so you can picture it. But if you can think about the earth being a circle, and you can think about hell being in the center of the earth, the bullseye in the earth, that's what hell is. The bottomless pit is almost like a donut that goes inside the earth on the outside of hell. Hell is like the donut hole inside of the bottomless pit. And the reason it's bottomless is because it's connected. Donut is connected completely. And that pit goes all around the earth. That's why it's bottomless. That's why it's inside the earth. And that's why it's bottomless. Some people might say, well, if it was in the earth, it would have to have the end. No. Not if it goes in a circle. Speaking of donuts, I appreciate whoever that was. Let that on my dash. On my hood of my car dash. I appreciate it. Sorry. But the bottomless pit is inside the earth. And these locusts, or these demonic forces, come out of the inside of the earth. Now keep your place in Revelation. We're only going to go one other place tonight, but I want you to see this. Go to Luke chapter 8. Now this is, in Luke chapter 8, this is the demon-possessed man that's cutting himself and crying out and foaming at the mouth. And of course, Jesus comes to take these demons out of this man. And this is where the conversation picks up here in verse 30, Luke 8, verse 30. It says, Jesus asked him, saying, "What is thy name?" And he said, "Legion, because many devils were entered into him." And they, the demons, besought him that he would not command them to go out into the deep. You remember that? They wanted to go into the swine because they did not want to go into the deep. What are they talking about? They're talking about the bottomless pit. They're talking about what we just read about. And we read some different places in the Bible where there are some demons that are chained in a dungeon of darkness. They're waiting to be let out. And this is when they're let out in chapter 9, Revelation. Now, so I just wanted to confirm that so we will know what we're talking about. We're talking about a demonic army being released out of the very bottomless pit out of the earth. That's scary stuff right there, isn't it? I just want to answer a few questions tonight about this army. Now, of course, you're saved. It doesn't affect you one bit. But if you're lost, this is what you have to look forward to. That's if you survive to this point. What do we need to know about this demonic army? Number one, it's a restless army. Look at 9 verse 1 again. And the fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star. That's the devil, by the way. You know, he was quoted as being the star that fell from heaven. He fell into the earth, and to him was given the key of the bottomless pit. And he opened the bottomless pit, and there arose a smoke out of the pit, as the smoke of a great furnace. And the sun and the air were darkened by reason of the smoke of the pit. And there came out of the smoke locusts upon the earth. That's those demons. And unto them was given power, as the scorpions of the earth have power. Now, I want you to think about this. These evil forces have been chained in this dungeon of the abyss. And they've been waiting for all these thousands of years for this one moment when they get out to terrorize those that are left. Now, I know that sounds far-fetched and crazy, but look, hey, I'm just going to preach it because it's here, amen? I mean, I believe it because the Bible said it. Now think about this. What if you let out all the criminals in the world out of prison at one time, just let them have free reign to do what they want to do? It would be anarchy. I mean, it would be a terrifying situation just from doing that. But we're talking about millions of demons being let out to terrorize the world. It's going to be a bad day. It's going to be a scary day. It's going to be like something straight out of your worst nightmare, something straight out of the worst horror movie ever made. It's going to be some scary stuff. And I thank God that we're not going to be here. You better make sure you're ready. Amen. This is going to be a restless army just chomping at the bit for that day when the devil goes and unlocks that portal to the outside world. And here they come by the millions. I think the reason they're called locusts is because whenever you have a plague of locusts, there's so many of them that when they swarm, you can't even see. It blocks the very sunlight. I read about the worst infestation of locusts ever recorded. I believe it was in Saudi Arabia in 51 and 52. I mean, just ate thousands of acres. I mean, it looked like a desert after got through. And they said it was so many of them that when they flew above it, we're talking about insects. But there's so many of them, it blocks the sunlight. I mean, it's almost like an eclipse or so. That's how these demons are going to be. I think that's why they're called locusts. It's a restless army. But not only a restless army, but it's a restricted army. Look at verse 4. And it was commanded them that they should not hurt the grass of the earth, neither any green thing, neither any tree, but only those men which have not the seal of God in their foreheads. Now, this is pretty interesting. Look at verse 5. It says, to them it was given that they should not kill them, but that they should be tormented 5 months. And their torment was as the torment of a scorpion when he striketh man. Now, this is a restricted army. They were commanded not to hurt the ones that had the seal of God in their forehead. You remember we talked about the 144,000 sealed? Those are the Jews that are going to be saved in the tribulation period. And God has sealed them in their forehead, and they cannot be touched by this demonic army. Isn't that something? As evil and mean and as nasty as this army of demon forces are going to be, they can't touch the seal of God. They can't touch the people of God. And that ought to be a comfort to us in the day even in which we live, in knowing that if we're the people of God and we're walking with God, that everything that happens to us is allowed by God. It's not just happenstance. It's not something that God can't control. He allows it, and He allows it for a reason. And there's nothing in our lives that He couldn't snap His fingers and be done away with. I don't always understand why He does it, but He's God, and I'm not. But it does show that He's able. Because shows how powerful our God is. They're a restless army, but they're a restricted army. Even the most, look, this is the most powerful, evil, fighting force that's ever been seen in the 6,000 years of human history. There's been a lot of good ones, by the way. This is the worst one ever, and God said, can't go there. That's how powerful our God is. This is a restless army. It's a restricted army. But it's also a resilient army. Look at verse 5 again. And then it was given to them that they should not kill them, but that they should be tormented 5 months. And their torment was the torment of a scorpion when he striketh man. And in those days shall men seek death, and shall not find it, and shall desire to die, and death shall flee from them. That's a bad place to be in. Now, I've never been stung by a scorpion, but I know out west in the desert when they got those big scorpions, and we got those little bitty things now. They're about our hand bite. I'm talking about over here, they got the sure enough big ones. I know that their poison is so strong, it has actually been known to send people into convulsions. I mean, it's some wicked stuff. And yet, death will not even be found in these people. They will not even be allowed to die. They're going to be stung over and over and over again by these demonic forces for 5 months. This is a resilient army. Now you think about this. Now I know we have sayings for people, you know, you look at somebody like a Michael Jordan and you say, well man, he was just born to play basketball. He's a natural. You look at somebody like Tiger Woods, well, he was born to play golf. He's good at what he does. I mean, you can find somebody and say, well, you know, that's their niche. That's what they're here for. I'm telling you, this army, this is what they were made for. This is all they do. This is their MO. They terrorize and torture the people that rejected God on this earth. This is what they had to look forward to. This is a resilient army. They were set aside for this purpose. He said, well, that's just cruel. Yeah, it is. But it was cruel what Jesus Christ went through on the cross. He took our punishment for us. The Bible says, how should we escape if we neglect so great a salvation? We won't. See, He took the wrath of God for us. But there's some people out there, they want to take the wrath of God for themselves. Friend, if you're here tonight, if you're not saved, you've got a chance. Amen. The door is